Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something truly fascinating. We're going to look at how humanity's grand story connects ancient history, botany, digital data, and the inner workings of the human psyche. I know it sounds like an impossible mix, but by the end of our time together, you'll see exactly how beautifully these threads weave into one single, incredible narrative.
We're going to kick things off with a profound thought from Rudyard Kipling. He once wrote, "If history were taught in the form of stories, it would never be forgotten." And that's exactly what we're doing. Even though we'll be jumping from ancient humanoid bones to modern social media algorithms today, we are fundamentally telling one unified, unfolding story of humanity.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the human story, then humanity before history, followed by healing through nature. After that, we're modeling digital behavior, and finally, we'll dive into the human mind.
All right, part 1, the human story, scars and stories.
Historians usually fixate on political and military events, right? And the reason is simple. They leave physical evidence behind. Playwright Bertolt Brecht hit the nail on the head when he made this incredible observation. He said that kisses leave no traces, but wounds leave scars. So when we study history at the macro level, we are quite literally studying the scars left behind by our ancestors.
But how do we actually measure when those scars happened? You've probably noticed a big shift in modern academia from the traditional BC and AD system to BCE, before Common Era, and CE. Well, it all comes down to accuracy. The guy who created the original system didn't realize that Jesus was actually born between 6 and 3 BCE. I mean, it doesn't make much sense to say Christ was born years before Christ, right? And get this, it's not even a new trend. The famous German astronomer Johannes Kepler was actually championing this inclusive dating system using the Latin phrase for Common Era way back in 1615.
Moving on to part 2, humanity before history, the survivors.
It's super easy to assume we were always the only humans on the block. But Earth actually used to host dozens of humanoid species. We're talking Neanderthals, Denisovans, and even the so-called hobbits. We are actually the scarce descendants of a massive humanoid extinction event. Over the past 50,000 years, starvation, disease, and brutal violence wiped out most of our incredibly diverse family tree. We outlasted them, we competed with them, and as modern genetics proves, since so many of us still carry their DNA today, we definitely mated with them. At our absolute core, we are the ultimate survivors.
Okay, part 3, healing through nature, botanical bonds.
Since the literal dawn of civilization, humans have been desperately looking for natural magic bullets to cure what ails us. Now, about 50 years ago, chemistry really took over. We synthesized our drugs to support a booming global population. But today, we're seeing this massive resurgence, a real greening of chemistry. Scientists are actually returning to natural resources to find solutions that just don't have the hazardous side effects of synthetic chemicals. To understand how this works, we need to look at plant biology. Plants produce two main types of phytochemicals. First, you have primary metabolites. These are just what the plant needs for basic daily survival, stuff like oils and carbs. Think of it as the plant's diet. But secondary metabolites? That is where the magic happens. These are chemical adaptations produced only when the plant is under environmental stress. And it's exactly these stress-induced defense compounds, like alkaloids and terpenoids, that are just bursting with the biological activity we harvest for our medicines.
And this actually sparks a massive debate in the medical community. Modern science loves to isolate a single, pure chemical and deliver it as a highly targeted drug. Makes sense, right? But herbalists argue for something called synergism. They believe that swallowing a crude extract with multiple interacting plant components is vastly superior. The idea is that the natural mixture has an effect far greater than just the simple sum of its parts. It enhances the therapeutic benefits while naturally dialing back the side effects.
But our reliance on nature isn't just about personal medicine. It extends to planetary healing too. Have you ever heard of phytoremediation? It's this brilliant green technology process. Basically, by applying agricultural residues, we can actually remove and recover toxic heavy metal ions from localized wastewater. And the best part is, the plant biomass can be regenerated, which makes it incredibly cost-effective for rural and remote areas. We are literally using the earth to clean the earth.
Let's pivot a bit for part 4, modeling digital behavior, the virtual self.
Just like we had to adapt to physical environments to survive, we are now constantly adapting to virtual ones. We leave endless, invisible traces of our behavior across countless networks, and complex data science is now being used to track those virtual footprints.
The core concept you need to know here is task heterogeneity.
In plain English, this is how data scientists analyze the wildly different actions you take across different platforms. Because, let's be honest, your highly polished professional persona on LinkedIn is essentially a completely different species from who you are on TikTok. Task heterogeneity is the analytical lens they use to model this cross-domain behavior, essentially trying to figure out who you really are online.
So to accurately map all of this out, algorithms use what's called explainable transfer learning. Imagine a data scientist knows exactly what you like on one platform, the source domain, but they know almost nothing about you on a brand new app. Well, by reweighting your known habits and adjusting for platform differences, which they call distribution shifts, they can essentially copy-paste your digital profile from one domain to another. It's exactly how algorithms track the digital scars and kisses you leave all over the web just to predict your next move.
And finally, Part 5, the human mind, inner mechanics. Let's zoom all the way in now. Consider this striking story of a psychoanalysis patient who experienced intense, sudden panic when their new analyst took a temporary leave. The patient immediately fantasized that the analyst was in the hospital or, even worse, had died. But here's the thing. This sudden anxiety wasn't actually about the new analyst at all. It was deeply linked to the patient's unresolved past traumas regarding the illness and death of their former analyst and even their own father. This right here is a textbook example of idealizing transference. The patient's mind had built an incredibly strong protective defense mechanism, subconsciously projecting perfect, indestructible qualities onto their former analyst just to shield itself from the terrifying emotions of sudden loss. It's absolutely fascinating. Just like a plant produces secondary metabolites when it's under environmental stress, the human mind produces powerful psychological defenses when it's under emotional stress.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a provocative thought to chew on. We've looked at our brutal survival against ancient humanoid extinctions, our botanical attempts to heal physical diseases, the digital algorithms we build to organize our social behavior, and the subconscious walls we throw up to protect our hearts. Looking at this beautiful, incredibly complex tapestry of human adaptation, you really have to ask, are all our macro and micro innovations simply human attempts to manage our own profound vulnerability? Just think about that the next time you take an herbal supplement or log on to social media. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey, and keep exploring.